What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another Tottenham update for you guys. Sim, how you doing today?
Right. I'm good. I'm doing well.
Good. I thought I'd check in this time because I always just breeze you over and we get into the Tottenham update.
You're making sure I'm all right.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Maybe
we have to
so
social
well.
distance now, so I thought I may as well.
No, I'm not doing so well. I need a pick-me-up. I need a Spurs victory. Come on.
Well, we got FA Cup this weekend against a team in Tier 8, so maybe we'll get a win this weekend. But anyway, let's get on to the news update I've got for you guys. First of all up is Charlie Eccleshare of The Athletic, a Tier 2 source. And the first bit of news from them is Tottenham Hotspur have made initial contract to Hugo Lloris over a new contract.
Yeah, and his contract is up in, 18 months? So I think it sounds about right. Whether he'll sign it is another issue. But yeah, look, it's a positive step. I want him to stay. I think Lloris is he's been in such good form recently, and especially since he got his injury, he's been one of the best keepers in the league. So I would love him to sign a new contract. I would understand if he feels like he's given enough years to Tottenham and wants to try something else. So I wouldn't be disappointed in him if that were to happen. But I want him to stay for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 34 years old right now. How many years do you reckon he has left him in the very top, at the very top?
A couple at least.
Yeah,
I would say.
So now you'd probably say is probably the last chance saloon to get a proper fee for him.
Yeah. If if he doesn't sign a contract,
yeah,
then we're not going to get that much of a fee, are we?
Well, 18 months left. If you're going to sell him in the summer,
I can see him running down his contract.
Left. Yeah,
I don't think we'll sell him. I think I can see him running down his contract. But look, I think PSG kind of makes sense, doesn't it? At this point, him going to PSG. So we'll see how that one works out. But I want him to stay, and I hope we can get a contract sorted. But I have a feeling I don't think he will. I just have a feeling he won't.
Well, we'll see how it plays out.
What do you think? Do you think he will?
I got a feeling he will. I know he said once that he's going to follow Maurizio anywhere he goes.
Not just because of that. I just feel like he's been here for 10 years nearly now. It's a long time.
But I think you can see now there could be light at the end of the tunnel, potentially winning a trophy or two. So maybe he will want to stay, maybe potentially win the league.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not happy. I'm sure he's happy here. I don't think he'll leave because he's unhappy. I just think he'll leave because he's been here for a long time and he might want to try something new and end his career in France potentially.
Yeah, but even if he stays for another 2 years, he can still end his career in France.
Yeah, but maybe he wants to play at PSG while he's still in his prime.
I don't know. I'm not in the mind of Hugo Lloris.
I'm just trying to think how a keeper like him would think, who's given 10 years to a club like Tottenham, and he's captain of France. And I would think maybe he might want to try something new for the last part of his career while he's still in his prime. I'm just thinking that's probably what he might be thinking. But I hope he stays.
At the end of the day, I hope he stays. But either way, I can understand it, and I'll accept the decision either way. But let's move on. This is again from Charlie Eccleshare of The Athletic, and he says Tottenham's interest in Christian Eriksen is actually genuine, and there is a small possibility that the Dane returns to North London. That follows on a DiMarzio Tier 1 source that says Jose Mourinho would be happy to have Christian Eriksen return to Tottenham, but his high wages make the deal unlikely.
Yeah, and also there was a report as well in Italy from Gazzetta, I think.
Yeah, it was Gazzetta dello Sport, who are only a Tier 3 source, and they say Jose Mourinho wants Christian Eriksen to return to Tottenham if Dele Alli departs the club. Mourinho likes his playmaking and shooting abilities.
They also said Tottenham at the moment are the only suitors for Christian Eriksen. No one else is in for him.
It's interesting because all those rumours about PSG the last couple of days as well.
Yeah. Look, this one seems to be building up a bit of momentum at the moment. I think this is one, if it does happen, it's only going to happen right at the end of the window, I think. I don't think it's going to happen right now. We're not going to be in a rush to sign him. I think it's one of those ones where if we're not really getting any of our targets or whatever come the end of the window and Dele Alli leaves near the end and we're kind of not got many options, I can see a loan deal happening. But other than that, I don't see much. I don't know if this is an actual goer or not.
You remember back in the documentary, even in the latter parts of Christian Eriksen's career, you always had Jose Mourinho talking well about him, always talking about how professional he is and how hard it is for a player that is, inevitably going to leave the club, trying to put his all into it. So if he does come back, I'm all for it. If Jose Mourinho wants him back, then I'm all for it completely.
Yeah, I think he's a weapon that we don't really have with his kind of skill set in the squad at the moment. So I wouldn't be against it if he really wants to come back and he really is motivated. I wouldn't be against it. I just kind of feel like like he's not a priority. Says I wouldn't like be that excited.
But it would
right
be
now.
a priority if Dele was to go.
Yeah, if Dele was to go, it would be a priority. So I'm not against it. Like, I'm not against it if it works for all parties and it's a loan deal and he really wants to be motivated to get back in the team and reinvigorate his career. Then I think we could have obviously a world class player on our hands. But at the moment, it's no, I think it's too far away to get too excited at the moment. I think it's going to happen at the end of the window if it happens.
The thing is, if Jose's not going to use Dele anyway, then you may as well bring him in and get rid of Dele. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would rather have at the moment. I think I'd rather have Eriksen than Dele, and also Eriksen could be a very good weapon if you're coming on. If we need a goal or something, just a bit of magic, a pick a pass or a shot or something like that, he's very good at those things. So for sure, he could be a very good option for the squad if he came in.
A lot of Spurs fans kind of remember like his last 6 months at the club, and how he kind of like stopped playing and what have you. But I think it's important to remember the good times at Spurs, because in the good times he was the best in the league at what he did.
Yeah, and there are far more good times than there were bad times. And, it always is with football. You're only as good as your last game, aren't you? So that's all people remember, and people tend to forget the other things. But I think I personally I think it would be a good move if it works for everyone. I wouldn't mind it. But with his high wages as well, I don't know. It's a difficult one whether they'll actually get over the line. I'm not holding too much hope, but we'll see how it plays out over the window.
All right, let's move on. And this is a report from the Telegraph, a Tier 1 source out in Holland. And they say PSV Eindhoven are attempting to pull off a shock transfer and sign Toby Alderweireld in the summer. It remains unclear if Tottenham would let him leave. And then following on that, the PSV general manager Toon Gerbrands said, "Our scouting consists of hundreds of players. Alderweireld is currently not in our plans."
So there you go. So it doesn't look like Toby's going to PSV anytime soon. We did just give him a new contract not so long ago. And I think he's been playing really well, I think, this season. So definitely not one. I don't think that's going to be in the summer, but maybe in a couple years' time, I think he can be moving back to Holland.
2 years left in his contract. Or
2.5 years,
2.5 years,
So
yeah.
I don't think it's definitely not going to happen now. Definitely, whether it happens in the summer or not, I still think highly unlikely. I think he's having a bit of a renaissance this season, isn't he, Toby? So I don't think this is going to go at all.
I agree. Moving on, Harry Kane and Heung-min Son have both been nominated for EA Sports FIFA Team of the Year. No surprise, is it?
No, come on. They've been two of the best players in Europe this season. And especially they had strong form at the back end of last season as well. Apart from those many months they missed near the beginning of the year, they've been two of the best players in Europe. So they fully deserve the nomination.
Yeah. Moving on, Luis Campos has come out. Obviously, he left his job at Lille a month ago or a few weeks ago, and he's talking of his relationship with Jose Mourinho. It's been widely reported since Jose has come into Spurs that Luis Campos will be joining him as kind of a sporting director role, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. But he has come out and with more quotes about Jose Mourinho, and he says, "Like I said before, Jose is a friend. He's a big friend, a great friend. We have enormous respect for each other. We will not live with the obsession of returning to work together." What does that kind of tell you?
I think they will work together at some point. I think it depends how long Mourinho's here for, in all honesty. But I think this is one where I think if things are returning back to normal, and we're back in the Champions League in the summer, and we have a bit of money to spend, I think...
You say that, but he went to Lille, who weren't in the Champions League at the time. He got them into the Champions League.
No, it's not about us being in the Champions League, but I think in terms of if we get into the Champions League, we might have a bit more money to spend. So we would rather have someone who he trusts to handle the transfers, like Luis Campos. And I think this one could definitely be one that happen in the future. He's left Lille now, hasn't he? So yeah, it's I think for sure it's going to happen in the future, especially because Trevor Birch left. I know he wasn't a football guy, but we don't really have that. Who's in that role at the moment?
Hitchin, yeah.
But he's the scout. He's not.
He's a head scout.
Yeah,
I mean,
Campos isn't a scout.
We don't have a sporting director at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't think.
So I think it will make sense. It will happen at some point. I think. Yeah.
I'd love it to happen. I mean, the guy that's the GOAT of sporting directors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How many players has he unearthed? I mean, so many.
I know. Yeah, I think it'll be a great addition. We've wanted him for a while. Nearly happened when Mourinho first came, and obviously, unfortunately, didn't happen. Didn't go over the line. But I think now he's free. I don't see a reason why it won't happen.
Agreed. Let's move on. Spurs have a new sleeve sponsor as our work off the pitch still continues to grow and grow and grow. Daniel Levy doing absolutely sensational work off the pitch. And what it is Tottenham have announced a 5-year sponsorship deal with a fastest growing online car selling platform, Cinch. They're going to be advertising on the sleeves of all Tottenham men and women's team. It's actually not released how much money they're going to be paying Tottenham to advertise on there, but if you look at other deals that are similar, Hyundai pay Chelsea 50 million to advertise on their sleeves until 2024, while Arsenal get paid 30 million by Visit Rwanda, which runs out this year. So it's going to be some sort of like hefty fee, you know what I mean?
Look, I'm sure Levy's made it financially viable, as you say, for the Tottenham team.
Maybe that's going to pay for Luis Campos.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, something, I hope we get a bit extra money from somewhere. But look, Levy, trust me, he drives a hard bargain, so I'm assuming we're getting a decent amount from them. So yeah, look, another good deal. We need as much as we can get now with the fans out of the stadium, so it's a nice other source of revenue. It's interesting that apparently we previously rejected sleeve sponsors because it might have negatively affected the stadium sponsor or something, but that seems to have changed for some reason. I wonder why.
Well, maybe this company are going to be involved in this kind of this stadium naming rights deal or something like that.
Maybe. It's very possible. It's very possible because I think they're a very fast growing company and quite a large company now, so we'll have to see how that comes about. But I think, yeah, look, I'm happy, I guess. We've got another sponsor.
Worth noting that these sleeve sponsors come into immediate effect, so they'll be in use for the Marine game on Sunday. But let's move on and let's talk about Aston Villa because there's been a massive COVID outbreak at Aston Villa. Their training ground is currently shut. Tonight they play Liverpool in the FA Cup. The game is still on and they're going to be using their under-23s and under-18s to play the game tonight. But it looks as though the Spurs game on Wednesday against Villa could be called off.
Yeah, it's in major doubt at the moment, which is not good news for us, especially with the fixture pile-ups that's envisaged later on in the season. We've already got 2 games to kind of cover already near the end of the season, 2 games against Fulham. And if this game gets called off, then we could have an absolute nightmare end to the season.
Why
in
2
terms
games
of
against Fulham?
Because one of them got moved because it got postponed, the other one got moved because of the Carabao Cup final.
I see.
So both games against Fulham have to be rearranged at some point. And a third game rearranged, which means we might have to play 3 weeks playing Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, which would be an absolute nightmare. And it was all right when it was Europa League because we can kind of get away with it. But when it's Premier League and big games, I don't know how we're going to cope.
Well, we're lucky it's Fulham.
Well, even there, but
I know it's not as easy. I know it's hard, still a hard game. But out of everyone in the Premier League,
yeah, but if it's Villa though,
yeah.
Tough games. Tough games.
I don't understand why they don't schedule the Fulham game instead of the Villa game because Fulham aren't playing until Friday.
This is the first of all, they should do that, but this is the madness they've had by not cancelling one of the domestic cups. They should have. I know we're in a League Cup final, but in all honesty,
the FA Cup.
Yeah, they should cancel the FA Cup now. Cancel it. No, but they should have cancelled one of them because
and international breaks.
Yeah, and that because fitting all this football in is just unsustainable, and especially now, like we really should. Given how many clubs now are having COVID outbreaks, we really should be having a stop to the football for a couple of weeks at least.
I think it's a matter of time now, to be honest.
But is it? Because they can't afford to. They just can't afford to.
But how are all the other leagues coping?
I don't know. Maybe we're just the worst out of everyone because I don't know if other leagues are having COVID outbreaks left, right and centre with all the teams, but we are. But the problem is we can't afford to stop. We cannot afford to stop because the Euros is coming very quickly after the season ends. Already, even right now, as the fixture, even if there are no stops in football and there are no more from now to the end of the season, there are no more postponed games. Even now, the fixtures are pretty unsustainable. Even now, so if there are even more stoppages, then it puts the Euros at risk. It puts lots of other things at risk. It'll put even more strain on the fixture list. So that's the thing. We kind of just we're like a train with no brakes at the moment. The Premier League. We just can't afford. We can't stop.
And it's putting players' health at risk even more.
That's the thing. That's the thing, and it's. I think the Premier League have put themselves in this an avoidable situation. They could have definitely, with a bit of foresight and a bit of, not just think about their back pocket all the time. They could have definitely foreseen some of these issues and definitely planned for it. They didn't. They just said the show must go on. We must keep going and going, and nothing's going to be stopped. We're not going to cancel any breaks. We're not going to cancel any cups.
This?
Could have cancelled one of the cups and free out some space. They should have easily done it. I know we're in the final of the league, as I said, it should have been cancelled. It should have been. Obviously, I'm happy that we're in the final, but it should have been cancelled at the end of the day.
So why not cancel the FA Cup now?
They can't do it now because they've started it. So what can they do? There's nothing to do at this point. They've screwed themselves big time.
Keep the FA Cup. Keep the Premier League teams out of the FA Cup.
They've screwed themselves. That's what they've done. They've put themselves in an unwinnable situation now, and now we can't afford to stop. So I feel sorry for whoever gets screwed. There's a lot of teams, I reckon, who are going to get screwed over, because we should have had a break, and but now whoever gets COVID outbreaks, they're screwed. So whoever, I think all Premier League footballers now, it's imperative that they just act responsibly for themselves and for the club, because any COVID outbreaks, it's now a situation where I know there have been some postponed games, but they can't afford to postpone any more. So it's the responsibility of the players to really make sure they don't get this virus and make sure they're keeping themselves isolated, because they can't afford to be any more outbreaks. Because what's going to happen is it's not going to be postponed. You're just going to not play.
And you're going to four Man City players just come back from Dubai, all four tested positive.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing's a joke. These players are not taking responsibility.
But what I'm saying, yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is imperative for their club now that they do,
that.
Because otherwise they're just going to be out and they're just going to screw over themselves and the team.
Do you think that if players are seen to be breaking the social distancing laws and quarantine laws and all this kind of stuff, do you think that teams should be docked points?
I don't know about dock points.
What do you think the fair punishment is?
I think, look, I don't know. I think they should be. I don't know what fair punishment is for players who are.
Because if you fine them, it doesn't make a difference because they got so much money. It doesn't make a difference. The only way to do it is to ban them, isn't it? Give them a suspension. Give them 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, but they're banning themselves by doing it, because if they test positive, then there's an automatic. They have to isolate for 2 weeks. So it's like banning them. What will that like? They're banning themselves. So it's punishment enough. You just got
ban them after.
They just got to look. You just got to be dealt
after that isolation period.
I think they just got to be dealt with very strongly internally to make sure that they don't put themselves and the club at risk. Because at the moment,
yeah, but at the end of the day, all the clubs are going to do is dock wages from them. That's all they're going to do. They don't care about getting docked wages. These players.
But I'm saying, but by them doing what they're doing, they're already hurting themselves and the club if they test positive and they're spreading the virus. So it's not like, for example,
it's not stopping anyone.
Huh?
It's not stopping anyone though.
Well, maybe they're not, but you're saying it's not stopping anyone. But I think once people realise the consequences of their actions, it might stop people. Because at the moment they're just thinking, oh, we're going for dinner and this, and nothing's really going to happen because, oh, we're going to play. But if they have to miss 2 weeks of games, with games coming thick and fast, then it's just screwing themselves and the club, and they'll know the consequences of their actions at the moment, I think.
But it's just happening way too much at the moment. I mean, this stuff has been going on for nearly a year now. This whole COVID thing.
Yes, it has.
And it's still going on in a big scale. People are getting fed up with this whole lockdown and they're not taking it seriously.
Yeah, but in the summer, things were improving. Everyone thought it was like, we're going to see the end of it. But now people are seeing this uptick again. Now it's all coming back again, and the importance of it all is all coming back to light. So I think players over Christmas didn't realise the severity, but now maybe they might start to realise again. Because they look... As I say, like, if they have to isolate for 2 weeks and they get a fine, they're just screwing themselves and they're screwing the team. They've got a responsibility. They have to make sure that they isolate and make sure that they don't contract it.
All right, let's move on to the last bit of news from today. I'm going to bring a picture up on screen right now, and this is going to be the room where Tottenham are going to be changing in the changing rooms and Marine. It's a 150-seater wedding reception facility, so at least there's going to be a lot of room for social distancing, eh?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, they're doing what? So this is where they're going to be the changing rooms.
It's basically a massive wedding reception hall.
Oh, nice. So who's getting married?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, good on Marine for organising that, I guess.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is our Tottenham update for today. Let me know if you have any thoughts regarding anything we spoke about today.
We just had breaking news, actually. Brentford, the manager of Brentford has just tested positive.
Oh, really?
For the virus.
Great.
And how does that affect us? Because we just played them.
Mm.
Oh, God. We have to
And
wait and see.
The manager of Brentford and Højbjerg were proper touching each other after the game.
God. We'll see how this pans out.
We'll see how this pans out. But anyway, as I was saying, like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.